Pawn Stars boss Rick Harrison shows off a wooden telephone more expensive than an iPhone. When most people think of a valuable item, they imagine something modern, perhaps a sleek new iPhone, the latest smartwatch, or some high-tech gadget with cutting-edge features. But on Pawn Stars, the reality TV show that has captivated audiences for over a decade, value isn't always defined by how advanced or expensive something is in today's market. Sometimes it's about history, rarity, craftsmanship, and nostalgia. And in one memorable episode, Rick Harrison, the boss of the world-famous gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas, proved this point when he showed off a wooden telephone that was worth more than the latest iPhone. This wasn't just any old phone, it was a piece of American history, a relic from the early days of telecommunications, crafted with care, built to last, and now highly sought after by collectors. While iPhones come and go every year with updated models, this wooden telephone had stood the test of time both literally and figuratively. Its presence in the shop drew attention not only from customers, but also from viewers at home who were reminded that sometimes the past holds treasures far beyond what we carry in our pockets today. The wooden telephone that Rick admired so much was likely a model from the early 20th century, possibly dating back to the 1920s or earlier. During that time, telephones were not mass-produced electronic devices, but handcrafted pieces of artistry and engineering. Made primarily of wood, often walnut or oak, these phones were sturdy, elegant, and designed with both function and style in mind. Unlike today's smartphones, which rely on touchscreens and digital signals, these early phones operated using a hand crank generator that produced the electrical current needed to signal the operator. They typically featured a separate earpiece and mouthpiece mounted on a polished wooden base. Some even had brass accents, rotary dials, or intricate carvings that made each unit unique. At first glance, such a device might seem primitive compared to modern communication tools. But for collectors, historians, and antique enthusiasts, these phones are priceless artifacts of technological evolution. They represent a time when every call was a significant event, when conversations were deliberate and meaningful, and when the idea of speaking to someone miles away was nothing short of magical. Rick Harrison, known for his sharp business sense and deep knowledge of antiques, recognized the true worth of the wooden telephone not just in monetary terms, but as a symbol of innovation and craftsmanship from a bygone era. So why would such an outdated object be worth more than a brand new iPhone? The answer lies in several key factors. Many of these wooden telephones were produced during the early 20th century, but few have survived intact. Over the decades, many were discarded, damaged, or lost to time. Those that remain in good condition are rare finds, especially if they're fully functional or retain original components like the crank handle, receiver, and wiring. These telephones played a crucial role in the development of global communication. Owning one is like owning a piece of history, a tangible connection to the way people lived, worked, and connected before the digital age. For museums, collectors, and historical societies, these items hold immense educational and cultural value. Modern electronics are built for efficiency and affordability, often designed with planned obsolescence in mind. In contrast, early telephones were built to last. Each piece was carefully assembled, often by hand, with materials chosen for durability and aesthetics. The attention to detail and quality of construction makes these items desirable to those who appreciate fine craftsmanship. For older generations, seeing a wooden telephone can evoke powerful memories of childhood, family, and simpler times. Even younger people, who may never have used such a device, find them fascinating because of their vintage charm and mechanical simplicity. This emotional appeal drives demand among collectors and decorators alike. In the world of antiques, value is dictated by supply and demand. If there are enough collectors willing to pay top dollar for a particular item, its price can skyrocket. Vintage telephones, especially those in excellent condition, or from notable manufacturers like Western Electric or Bell Systems, can sell for thousands of dollars at auctions or specialty shops. An iPhone, while technologically advanced and essential in daily life, depreciates rapidly once purchased. Within a couple of years, it's often considered obsolete and sells for a fraction of its original cost. On the other hand, well-preserved antiques tend to appreciate in value over time, making them solid investments. As the head of the gold and silver pawn shop, Rick Harrison sees all kinds of items walk through the door, from rare coins and military memorabilia to celebrity-owned collectibles and bizarre oddities. But when he comes across something like a vintage wooden telephone, he knows it's special. Rick has always emphasized that the pawn shop business isn't just about buying low and selling high. It's about storytelling, education, and preserving history. When he talks about the wooden telephone, he doesn't just see a product, he sees a narrative. He sees the transition from horse-drawn carriages to cars, from candlelight to electricity, from handwritten letters to instant communication. His ability to recognize the intrinsic value of such items and explain it clearly to customers and viewers is part of what makes Pawn Stars so engaging. Rick's passion for history and his respect for craftsmanship shine through in moments like these, reminding everyone that not everything valuable is shiny, new, or high-tech. The fascination with vintage technology isn't limited to telephones. Across the world, there's a growing interest in retro gadgets, from vinyl records and tube radios to typewriters and analog cameras. People are beginning to appreciate the tactile experience and timeless design of older devices, rejecting the disposable culture of modern tech in favor of something more enduring. This trend reflects a broader cultural shift toward minimalism, sustainability, and appreciation for handmade goods. Just as people are turning to vintage clothing, artisanal food, and classic cars, they're also rediscovering the charm of old-school technology. For many, collecting vintage items like wooden telephones is not just a hobby, it's a way to connect with the past, slow down in a fast-paced world, and surround oneself with objects that have character and soul. Beyond their aesthetic and financial appeal, wooden telephones also serve an important educational purpose. They offer a hands-on way to teach children and students about the history of communication, the science of electricity, and the evolution of technology. In schools, museums, and historical exhibits, these devices are often used to demonstrate how early telephones worked, how messages were transmitted, and how far we've come in just over a century. By showing young people what life was like without smartphones and Wi-Fi, educators can foster a deeper appreciation for the innovations that shape our lives today. Moreover, wooden telephones provide insight into the social norms of the past. Unlike today's private, mobile communications, early phone calls were often conducted in public spaces, with neighbors nearby and conversations easily overheard. This openness influenced etiquette, privacy expectations, and even the way people spoke on the phone. Interestingly, many people who purchase vintage wooden telephones don't necessarily intend to use them for actual calls. Instead, they display them as decorative pieces in homes, offices, or cafes that embrace a rustic or retro aesthetic. These phones add a unique touch to interior design, evoking a sense of nostalgia and sophistication. However, for the truly dedicated, some collectors do restore these telephones to working condition, connecting them to landline systems, or even integrating them with modern VoIP services. This allows them to enjoy the look and feel of a historic device while still using it for everyday communication. Restoration projects can be quite involved, requiring knowledge of old wiring systems, replacement of worn parts, and careful preservation of the original wood finish. But for enthusiasts, the process is rewarding, offering a blend of technical skill and historical appreciation. Looking at a wooden telephone, it's easy to forget how revolutionary it was in its time. Before the telephone, long-distance communication was limited to letters, telegrams, or face-to-face meetings. The invention of the telephone changed everything. It allowed people to speak instantly across great distances, revolutionizing business, politics, and personal relationships. The wooden telephone represents the infancy of that revolution. It was the tool that brought families closer, helped businesses grow, and laid the foundation for the interconnected world we live in today. Rick Harrison's admiration for this piece highlights the importance of remembering where we came from. It reminds us that progress doesn't erase the past, it builds upon it. Every smartphone, every video call, every text message owes something to the humble wooden telephone that started it all.